everyone, thanks so much for having me here. It's so good to be back in Minsk and at Imaguru and Tech Minsk. It's amazing the community here that you have and how fast it's growing and how tight-knit it is. You guys have done some amazing things this past few years, so I'm really excited to be here. Today I'm here to talk about a company that I've co-founded in Los Angeles called the Rogue Initiative. The Rogue Initiative is a virtual reality studio, but we don't just do virtual reality. We do feature film, TV, interactive gaming, location-based entertainment, IMAX, arcades, etc. So we're pretty diverse in terms of the content we're doing, but we specialize in virtual reality. Is there a clicker or something, or do I just? How do I? Oh, sorry, okay. Thanks. Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome. Thanks. Okay, great. So this is our team. We have members of the team from Amblin Entertainment, Call of Duty, Infinity Ward, Disney, Pixar, Lucasfilm, Reload Studios, John, Activision, Marvel, Sony Pictures, NBC Entertainment. Literally, we've built a team of the best in entertainment, media, and gaming. And I'll go into a little bit more on that. But basically, just to give you in one line, what we're doing at the Rogue Initiative is we're partnering with the best and most established Hollywood directors and producers to create new original IP, so new entertainment properties. And then we take those properties from VR, so we start them in VR, and then we make a feature film that you'd see in the movie theaters. And then we make a TV show that you would see on network programming or on Netflix or Hulu or any other SVOD, subscription, video on demand platforms. And then we also do IMAX and, as I said, arcades, etc. So it all starts with making a new IP. Again, this goes into a little bit more of our team. We've done some of the top experiences in VR that you might have seen already. We've done the Blue experience with the big whale with HTC. I don't know if you've seen that. We've done Paranormal Activity. We've done Gnomes and Goblins. World War Tunes is a game by Reload Studios that my partner helped produce. My co-founder was the producer of Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare series. He also worked on Transformers and The Island and The Prince of Egypt and Shrek and, literally many of the most well-known movies out there. Oh, I think I skipped a slide. Yeah, there you go. So again, this is kind of what we do, again in a line. We develop and own original IP for VR, games, and experiences, and then we expand those to TV, film, and all across the board, including toys. So we'll have toys for each one of these. Merchandising is a big part of our strategy. And again, it's about owning the IP. Because once you own the IP, you can really monetize it across the board, VR and non-VR. Again, here's just a quick example of that. Okay. Yeah, there's all those areas. These are our distribution channels. So when you're doing VR, these are the distribution channels you should be thinking about. And when you're doing non-VR, these are the ones as well. So on the VR side, the main distribution channels are here. Vive, PlayStation, Oculus, Xbox Live, OS VR, Samsung Gear. And then on the digital side, as I said, we're doing TV. So we're looking at Netflix and Hulu. We're also very big in China. And so Youku is a big platform there, IEC. There's a lot of platforms there that are coming out as well. And then on the traditional entertainment side, all the Hollywood kind of channels there and media companies. Oh shit! I think Yeah. So to look at the size of the market, VR and AR are going to look at a combined worth of about $150 billion in the next literally 4 years. So there is a market opportunity. AR is going to be really big, 120 billion. VR smaller. Everything's leading to AR. So even though we're doing VR right now, and I keep using the word VR, we're going to be doing AR as well. So VR leads to AR. Okay. So let's talk about just quickly about VR, like what's kind of interesting about it. In VR, native advertising is a huge opportunity because it's very seamless. You're in the experience and you can see advertising and you can interact with it. And it has a higher conversion rate because you're in it and you feel it and you're engaged. And converting or kind of doing the ad or getting the bottle of Coke or whatever it is much easier to do, and you're in the experience. And there's a lot of merchandising opportunities. So you can sell things in VR. So the opportunities for advertisers and merchandising, even in-app merchandising, in-app purchases as a developer, those opportunities are huge. And we're already seeing conversion, very high levels of conversion. From this. Let's talk about what you can do in VR in terms of storytelling. So one of the things you can do is you can experience characters from a TV show or a movie in ways that you can't do in traditional linear programming. So you can hang out with characters. Like if you're watching Titanic or something, and you watch it in VR and they're all eating on the ship, you can just hang out there. You don't have to leave. The movie doesn't go on. So that's the beauty about VR is you can stay in places and experience places within the VR movie that you wouldn't have the opportunity to in a normal movie because it has to go to the next scene, right? You can explore a world and spend time in settings, as I said. There's AI characters. So there's characters that you'll interact with in a scene or in a movie that will have different responses to what you do. So it's very interactive. So if you do something, they're going to do something else. And if we're all watching a VR movie together, I might have a different ending to my movie than someone else does. And what that means is people want to watch it again. They want to experience every ending. So a lot of content, if you watch a movie now, you only watch the movie once or twice if you really like it. But what's beautiful about VR is you might watch the movie 10 times because you want to feel like, oh, what happened? You died in the movie? How did that happen? And you want to watch it again and again. And so everyone will have different endings. So it's like a choose your own adventure, if you know what that is. And then VR is very personal because each viewer can have their own experience. And so it makes it very real to you. And therefore, it's a very individualized experience. In terms of storytelling, when you make a VR movie, or you're thinking about this, it's very similar to live theater. So when you're in VR, you're looking around and you're surrounded by the characters in the movie. You're inside, and so it's kind of like being in a live theater. And there's a lot of things that you as a movie maker have to basically get the characters, the viewers to understand. So you have to allow people to understand where they are, what are they doing, what should they be looking at, right? Because when you're in VR, maybe you're looking over here, but everything's happening over here, right? And so you got to use different cues. So visual effects, lighting, audio cues, all things that, they've done in video games for a very long time. But movie makers and filmmakers in VR are still new to. So a lot of those things we're borrowing from video games, like Call of Duty. In terms of our overall strategy, and for any VR company, this is very important, we have a big China strategy. So China, if you're not aware, is going to be the biggest media market in the world in the next 3 years. It's already huge, but in the next 3 years, it's going to be the biggest. So China is a very important part of our strategy. Chinese people who live in cities love going to arcades and location-based entertainment. So those things are coming out all the time now, all over the place, thousands of them. VR centers. I actually was in Tokyo a few weeks ago in Asia and went to a few, and I was in China recently as well and went to a few. In all of Asia, they're just really becoming very popular. And why is that? Well, because people live in urban areas and they have small amounts of space and they can't buy a VR headset. They're very expensive and they need more space. And so these kind of centers are where people can experience VR. And so as a developer, if you guys are interested in doing VR, a lot of these centers are great ways to monetize your content. Again, VR is a priority for China all the way from the top. The president of China talks about VR and talks about technology. And, it's funny, I spent about 8 weeks in China this summer already. So, and I was just there last week. I was spending a lot of time in China. And I went to some lecture by the government officials in China. And this one top government official was like, if you're not talking about VR in every conversation, you have low taste. so like, I mean, I don't know if the translation wasn't good, but he was just basically saying to everyone, like, you got to talk about VR, like you got to do VR. And they built a $10 billion fund in China called the VRVCA, which is linked up with HTC to invest in VR companies. So they're very, very big in China in the investment side as well. So in terms of VR, you should be really pursuing joint venture opportunities for distribution as well as local production, and that's what we're doing. Oh, dude, I think it went backwards. Oh, let's see. Okay. All right. Our European strategy, we're looking at opening up an office here and/or in Ukraine to have developers. I've spent a lot of time here, and I love it, and I love this part of the world. And so we're very interested in being out here as well and having development talent alongside our office in Los Angeles. So, love to talk to you about this. And the other reason is we're looking for investment capital from Europe. We're already backed by many of the top investors in Silicon Valley and in Asia, but we are very actively looking for European partners here in terms of investment who can help us in this market, and especially in Eastern Europe. Okay. Oh. So, okay. So now I'm going to go into our productions. So our first production is with my partner, Michael Bay. Michael Bay is the director of very many famous movies, Transformers series, The Rock, Bad Boys, Island, Armageddon. I'm sure you've seen some of these movies. He does a lot of big action movies. And so this movie we're doing in virtual reality, it's coming out next year. And we will be doing a feature film as well. So again, we start in virtual reality. We create a title. We get an audience in VR. And since we own the IP, right, we own the world, we own the story, then we make a feature film. And then we make an IMAX. And then we make an arcade. And then we make merchandising and toys. So that kind of gives you an example of what our business model is. Our second title we've announced is called Crow. This is kind of a Legend of Zelda meets Gundam. It's a science fiction fantasy. It's about a boy that lives on a planet and discovers that he's part of another, kind of a race of people that have traveled through space. It's very interesting. And we're releasing that in February. And again, same concept. We start in VR, and then we do, we'll do a TV show with this on Nickelodeon. We'll do an animated show, and then we'll do toys. So, yep. And then I'm just quickly going to go through our team, and then go to Q&A. So this is my co-founder, Pete. As I said, he's produced Call of Duty, and he worked with Steven Spielberg for about 12 years. at Amblin at DreamWorks. Our design director is pretty well known, probably the best well-known guy in VR. He's done a lot of VR stuff, and he originally was one of the guys on Call of Duty. This is me. I've been involved in venture capital and in startups for a long time. I founded East Labs in Kyiv a few years ago, and then prior to that, my background was in investment banking and management consulting. And my other co-founder came from DreamWorks and DreamWorks Television and Sony Pictures and NBC. So again, we have a pretty spread out background in terms of doing media and entertainment. And yep, and that's it. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys are interested in VR in general or our business. And hopefully this was informative.
Questions? Nobody's interested in virtual reality. Okay, then thank you so much. Oh, wow.
Hey, so did you sign any agreement with Nickelodeon? I mean, when I was a child, I was watching Nickelodeon all days long. It's really interesting. Yeah. What is your plan?
So, you know, our strategy in every one of these titles is to get the VR out there first. And then once we get the VR title out there and we build an audience, then we're collaborating with a well-known Hollywood director-producer in every one of these titles. And so with Crow, which is the one you're asking about with Nickelodeon, the director that we're working with for that title is a well-known showrunner for many Nickelodeon shows. So he's done The Legend of Korra. He's done The Last Airbender. He's doing the Voltron series with DreamWorks. His name is Joaquim dos Santos. And so our strategy is we work with a well-known guy who can help us kind of activate that. Similarly, for feature film, you know, we work with Michael Bay. So once we do the VR, then Bay knows how to do the movie, you know, right? So that's kind of how we do it. We partner with someone who can help us get into the other thing. And so with Nickelodeon, yeah, we have a very close relationship due to our partner. So, yeah. Yeah. Sure.
I do not have a lot of information about VR, but it's all about entertainment only, or you have any plans to use it in educational purposes? Yeah. Actually, here in our region, I suppose it's incredibly interesting for children to study in this way, to see dinosaurs or I don't know, to just create a story about.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. Yeah, we're very interested in all of the other applications of VR, including education, health, medical, you know, et cetera. There are a lot of opportunities for us to expand in those areas. Essentially, you know, what we've done is really built a strong team to create VR content. And now it's, you know, we're focused on the VR entertainment side just to start, but we'll slowly broaden to doing other things as well, education, health, medical, et cetera. Because the opportunities are there. So, yeah.
Where do you see the opportunity that VR being most to all? Is it entertainment, like medical, as you said, or okay, too late probably.
Support for the.
Okay, did you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, where do you see the opportunity in the VR field? Is it entertainment first of all, mobile VR, like education, or anything else?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. You know, I think initial monetization opportunities are, you know, going to be on the entertainment side with kind of interactive gaming, but also definitely on the you know, on the education side or the medical side. You see a lot of examples of AR being used in hospitals and VR being used in hospitals and other settings as well. So for us, we're going to start on the entertainment side because that's our background, and interactive gaming, interactive VR experiences. But like I said, I think we're very open to kind of expanding beyond that. But if, example, you're in a team that you think to yourself, I want to do something on the health side, right? I think there's plenty of opportunities there, and you build a team around that, and you can hit that also right away. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.